Musical friends and family, this is just an open time for us to just break a little musical bread. If you feel the need to come play a couple things, come along, clap, no pressure at all. We're just going to groove a little bit until the ceremony starts. So it's a great man we're honoring, so we're just going to keep making music right across the theater.
Everybody loves something. They were considered especially for a variety of reasons. A couple of them are suspect, probably
But it's a wrap already. What are you guys with shirt? See, it's like if we're wearing sleeves in the summertime, you know. I haven't done this before. Yeah. Put your glass and be like, why?
As promised, this is Isabel.
You look just like him. I have to thank you again.
I told her when we go in, look around and tell me you can't spot the one that is Lisa's brother. She said, right there in the butcher. Okay. Halfway between 10 and 20. Oh, okay.
But we just went to visit you guys and you brought me a little keychain from you. Yeah.
It's so nice to meet you.
Maybe I'll see you outside. 42.
Where should we sit? Where should we sit? Is it going to be really loud if we sit right here? You're the nice. That's my arm.
Welcome, everybody. Also known as Daniel, my brother. We would like to welcome you here, and we're grateful that you're here. It's wonderful to see someone that loves Clifford so very much. Friends, co-workers, musicians. I'd like to thank Stephanie for coordinating so much, doing so very much for us. Yeah. For having us here. Also Lawrence, who's worked quite so hard with me, but he's worked very hard. I'd like to thank these musicians that are playing today. It's beautiful music. Brings back many memories. I thought they would start with. Some of you know about that. probably wondering why I'm calling him Clifford. Who's this Clifford guy? We know Clifford, many of us know Clifford, who's my brother. Some of you know him as Luis or Louis. But his full name is Luis Albert Clifford Childers. And like I said, we call him Clifford. But he goes by a number of different names. Clifford is one of them, of course, Luis. He's never been called Albert. He's also been known as, we call him Ducho. Now, Ducho comes from Clifford Ducho. I'm not sure. So he calls himself Clifford Ducho, and so that got shortened to just Ducho. So we've known him as Luis and Clifford and Ducho. Also, he's known as Fico. When he was very young, he couldn't say Clifford, he couldn't say Childers either. So he would say, "My name is Fico Cruz." So then we just started calling him Fico. So sometimes we call him FIFO, sometimes Lucho, sometimes just Clifford. And then there's another name that he goes by, and I'm not sure anyone else can like this, but also we call him Pote. I don't know where Pote came from. We call him Pote. Hey, Pote. P-O-A-T, I guess, Pote. But those are the names that he's known by. And I say he's known by, I speak of him in the present tense. I don't speak as in the past. Because Clifford has not vanished from existence. Clifford is, he still exists. Let me read you something about the view. Some ancient words here. For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. His tent, his earthly tent is not here, but he has an eternal tent. Yeah. It's easy to get down, we've had our share of sorrow, but you know what? Clifford was loved. He was very much loved, and no matter what we think, and no matter what the world, by various means, tries to tell you, we are loved. We are loved. Right? We were made to be, we were created to be loved. Right? And I'm not talking about we were made in love or we were made to love. That's all true, but we were made to be loved. Right? By our Creator. Right? We just went on through here. I can prove it. Now the one who has fashioned for us this very purpose, that is the eternal home, not the earthly tent. Now the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit, guaranteeing what's to come, eternal. Right? We were created to be loved. Clifford was very much loved. Right? I invite my sisters to come up and talk about it. We got stories.
I'm Raquel. I'm crying. I'm trying to make it. If I don't, I'll assume that I was brilliant. We'll leave it there. Hi, Martha. He was also known as Uncle Thief. When my son Nick was born, he also couldn't say before. So he called him people and then decided he liked Uncle Thief better. So at my house, he's forever known as Uncle Thief. Clifford came to our family when I was about 5.5. And I was delighted because I wasn't going to be the baby anymore. I was going to be with the big guys. He was the cutest. The cutest.
You can tell from zooming pictures of you.
Yeah, he was super cute. But he was a little bit naughty too. He had a favorite game. You would put him in his playpen, and he would reach his arm over as far as he could to where there was no carpet, and he would drop the glass bottle to hear it shatter, and he would cackle like mad. No joke. Clifford, as you can see, has a love of stuffed animals. That started from the very beginning, right? He had a beloved, what was it, a mouse? A rat?
Yeah.
A mouse. Or a rat, one or the other, I'm not sure. His name was Tunka Tunka. And Tunka Tunka was his best friend. And Tunka Tunka got thrown under the bus a lot. A lot. Somehow we woke up to a crystal bowl being shattered, and funny enough, it was Tunka Tunka who did it. And he smiled Iran. Clifford, Iran, but back then anyway, had shoulders. And Clifford, Danny, and his best friend Alex would jump the sewers and walk along the edge, and they were a lot bigger. Well, Clifford wanted to do it too. He always went in the dream. Every time. So he would have to come home and he would be, nasty, dirty. My mother would clean him up, inside and out, and help him with his bath. You know how much you love that. This was a one-time thing. This was repeated at least, 4, 5 times? The last, I fell in with my bike. He goes, but this time, I went to my buddy's house, and I stayed there until I got dropped. And I didn't tell Mommy. So, he thought that was great.
Now she knows.
Yeah.
Now she knows.
Yeah. The secret is out, but, you forgive him.
So I'm Maura, and I'm the big sister, although as you can see, I'm smallest. And when Clifford was born, I was 9 years old. And what a gift it was, how he's almost like a baby in a way. And it was just great. I'm so grateful that you all are here to show your love, to honor, celebrate and praise the Lord, because praise gives our grief a voice. And that's really good, because I'm not able to say very much about my grief due to my loss is so deep, and we don't have words. But I will tell you that I will think of Clifford every time I hear some beautiful and beautiful music, and I'll say, oh, I love this. I want to tell them about it. Or if I read a really amazing book, I'll say, oh, Clifford would love this. I want to tell them about this great book. And whenever I pick up a box of staples or paper clips, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but they have the word paperclip in both English and French. And just so happens that the French word is paperclip. It's just like trombone. I don't speak French. Maybe somebody here knows how to say it, trombone. But I'll be with them every single time. And you know what? I wish I had told them this. So I feel it's good.
I do want to say that Clifford gave us one last really great gift. It's Stephanie. She's a family. She's stuck with us, whether she likes it or not. We love you.
My sympathies. Clifford was close to me as a brother. I'll say a few things later. Say a few things later.
All right, before we start, I think there'll be a lot of words said about Clifford tonight, so, just to keep it short and sweet. I think I can speak for all of us up here, we all loved him very much. And, as a musician, Clifford was as fine of a musician as you could have. Listen to him, to share his ideas. He was an incredibly deep listener. Even when he wasn't playing, Clifford was always listening when music was happening, which, you could tell that it came from deep down inside of him in a special place, and it was just infectious. Anytime he was around, you could really share with him. The love he had for music and the impression he had for music was contagious, and I'm forever grateful for that. We didn't have enough time with him. The time he did have was really special, and I'm just so grateful. I think I speak for all of us that we're just grateful. I think I speak for all of us that we're just better. So this is for him. So we're kind of just Sacramento, Jasper. We're like a community of Sacramento, Jasper. We're like a community of weirdos, musical folks. And Clifford was right at home with us. I mean, he was, that's part of it. So we're just gonna play. We're playing around. So that's all.
It's wonderful to see so many people from so many different avenues. You know, I know some of you traveled far to be here, some not so far, but we're all just grateful to have you with us. Clifford and I were in the service. He sat listening as others shared their memories and stood for us to speak and shared a beautiful tribute for our friend who recently passed away. I watched Clifford standing there in front of everyone, listening to him in amazement as he spoke. He was charming, he was eloquent, but at the same time by his side. As soon as I got the chance, I asked him if he'd been planning to speak all the while. With a little shrug, he said no. It was spontaneous, he just had decided to say something in the moment and improvised his way through it. I can add this to the many times where Clifford surprised me and added to my admiration. Things to say to me recently, this is the man you're with. And I wish I had Clifford's or possibly the children's gift of being able to improvise, but I need to rely on my notes and trust myself about them. As I try to share it with you, Clifford was to me. I first met Clifford at UCLA while he was finishing his last year of law school. In spite of being in a different department, he was a familiar presence in the music department. He played with an ensemble orchestra and jazz band, took lessons and toiled along. Surprisingly, this dancing trombone playing law student was always ready to catch my eye and smile at me. The first real conversation I remember having with Clifford was on the lawn outside of the music building. I felt shy and awkward around the brilliant and charming Clifford, but he was so easy to talk to, and he made me comfortable right away. I remember him telling me stories about his family, his growing up abroad and then moving back to the States and going to Texas. I was happy to discover that day we had a shared experience of being mixed race also. There weren't as many of us back then, in 1991, as there are now. His perspective on his identity is very similar to my own. There weren't as many of us back then, in 1991, as there are now. His perspective on his identity is very similar to my own and my family. I have to explain to someone how it is when you straddle cultures and being what I sometimes call it neither nor, not one thing and not another. So it fits. A few years ago, when he was out and about with his children, he was asked what can often be an intrusive and unwelcome question of what are they? In reference to his kids' origins. Clifford didn't miss a beat and immediately shot back, "These are my kids, and they're the future." Yes, kids' origins. Clifford didn't miss a beat and immediately shot back, "These are my kids, and they're the future." To me, that's the best dad clapback ever. The most important things fell into place for us very naturally. I was the planner and organizer in our relationship, and she was the person thinking about the future and seeing the moment. Making games on the spot and entertaining the kids with musical stories that came up with on road trips. Our approaches to life were very different, but our differences seemed to help give our relationship balance. Our individual strengths helped prop each other up and made us each better people, better to share mutual love, affection, and respect for each other that only got stronger over the many years we've known each other. In Clifford, I had my biggest cheerleader and supporter, and he often believed in me more than I could manage to believe us. I did the best I could to be the same for him. One of the nicest things about reconnecting with Clifford in this phase of our lives was discovering a shared love of family life and being parents. It was so sweet. The meals he would improvise for the kids, always making the food look as good on the plate as it tasted. We spent much of our phone calls at the end of the day talking about our kids, their successes and struggles, as well as our own parenting victories and failures. While we had different philosophies about raising kids, the thing we always agreed about was that they were our first priority. I have a good day. I finally introduced Clifford to my son Phoenix. As Phoenix was playing with his toys on the living room floor, he suddenly looked up saying, "I really like you." It's a true story. True story. He'd never done anything like that before with anyone else or since. But I think even as a little guy, Phoenix recognized that Clifford was a very special person. I was lucky to be with someone who was understanding of Phoenix's possibility and a regular presence in our house. Clifford was always more than welcoming to Bill having Clifford around. I don't think Clifford ever felt like he was being friendly, but he felt like he was being friendly, and I could see that Bill was comfortable having Clifford around. I don't think Clifford ever felt like he was being friendly, but he felt like he was being friendly and kind to Bill, so going out of his way, because that's who Clifford was. And I always suspect that Bill actually preferred when Clifford was around, but then again, so did I. Holidays and even a few vacations with himself in our relationship. It was a big part of why our unconventional arrangement works so well for everyone. The lessons seemed fixed at the same time, but we made the most of the time. Schedules our time together often overlapped with concerts and performances. But thankfully, they were both happy and had the chance to hear each other perform. I often worked on weekends, and Clifford was always up for coming to hear anything that was worth hearing. Even if I had something stressful to play, I never got nervous when Clifford was in the audience. Somehow knowing he was there made me feel like everything was going to go right. And after all these years, I would still get a little joke. "Wow, it's Clifford!" For me, as we held hands and talked about how the concert went. As many people already know, to stay open. On my nights off, it was fun for me to come to Clifford wherever he played, in the Sackville, and music circus here in town, and clubs to clean out about the brass bands. Clifford put everything he had in his heart and soul into the music he made. What I meant by that. He was totally invested in all things in musically. He didn't have to be energized because having a good night where everything flowed in just the right way was everything to him. When he led his own, he spent a lot of time selecting tunes he thought would work best, creating his own arrangements as well as adding singing on some of the tunes to many instruments he liked to have on hand when he had the freedom to create his own music. He often played keyboard, bass trumpet, harmonicas, Latin percussion, in addition to the trombone during those gigs. I think he really loved having the freedom to explore creating different sounds and finding new ways of expressing his musical ideas. There's Clifford making coffee for us in the morning. He made the best coffee. With things like his listening time. So I discovered when we first got back together in Clifford, he explained to me how he set aside listening time every day, music of all kinds, where many people use that as part of the background to their day. It's very important to Clifford as a musician closely listening to what he all he was talking about his reading studies. A couple of years ago, Clifford became fascinated with the benefits of focused reading. He read books and articles about it and spent time each evening doing his own reading exercises, and he actually got to the point of being able to hold his breath fast. I was skeptical about that one at first, but of course, because it was Clifford, there was a lot of study involved, which he was happy to share with me. I learned to trust him, and as with many of his off-the-beaten-path pursuits, I was impressed and sharpened by his commitment to following what he believed in. Most recently, it was skateboarding. When Clifford became curious about skating, I wondered if it was the best choice for him to decide to learn to skate after the age of 50. I kept urging him to be careful, but I should have already known that it wouldn't be necessary because it was Clifford. I tried it once, taking his time to patiently explain the importance of how I stood on the board, how I needed to push off, etc. I could see how methodical he was about learning a new skill, and this put me more at ease with his latest hobby. Clifford was really good at treasure that hides in plain sight. To Clifford, treasure came in the form of music, books, random items from the Goodwill. Clifford introduced me to people in the very archly women writing so many other things. I brought an example of Clifford treasure with me today. Last night I came across his first gift he gave me after we got back together. In all its simplicity, it's a tiny picture, 2 spins. Dear Stephanie, the old and the new, one chipped and cracked, one smooth and perfect, and somewhat rough-hewn. Together they represent the past and the future, me with my many flaws, and you with yours, and us with all the years past and years to come. The cup I love will always return to drink from time again, and will always return to drink from time again. So keep it close, and you'll always have me here. That's the end of it. Music was Clifford's solace and refuge, and if he wasn't playing it, he was listening to all kinds of music. When he did dishes, when he went to bed at night, or in the car, he would often send links to whatever he was listening to capture his attention that day. I love listening to the music that captured his interest, focusing me out of listening to the same things I always listened to him. The same would emphasize a word or phrase. It was impossible not to. I'm disappointed that I won't finally have the time to hear him play all of his instruments and mouthpieces. Instruments and his trombones all had names that matched something about the personalities he found in them. I got a crash course in who Clifford was to his trombone community, through all of the beautiful tributes people posted on Facebook. While I knew he liked to click and try instruments, I had no idea how into it he was. There's a whole lot to learn about this man. We've been talking about it for several years and had finally found a house that would work as the home we had talked about wanting to create for all of us. In spite of the many times we tried to figure things out between us, we never actually lived together before. Clifford was exceptionally neat and tidy. Last year, I realized I was going to be in trouble when I watched him put everything in his apartment back exactly in place that had been there. I'm gonna have to teach you about hospital corners. We're really excited for the future, and I was looking forward to the beautiful home that I knew Clifford would make for us. He has a great eye for finding creative ways of making space work and decorating unique things both live and families. Clifford had so many gifts, and so much came naturally to him, but I think his greatest gift was his heart. He felt deeply and he felt intensely. He always wanted to recognize goodness in others. There was always a sweetness to the person I first met at UCLA, and if you were lucky enough to catch him in a moment where he could be open and a little bit vulnerable. A puppy to my son and Felix helped Clifford to be more comfortable about Clifford by doing little thoughtful things that I hope to bring comfort and happiness to his life. This manly man of mine always wanted to talk about his feelings, and often while looking deeply into each other's eyes. It happened a lot. And I know it doesn't sound great, but sometimes when you just, it happened a lot. And I know it doesn't sound great, but sometimes when you just want to get done with washing the dishes or folding laundry, it could sometimes be a bit much. But I was wrong, and Clifford was right. Far too many times. Holidays, Clifford told me that he realized he was going to get literally be his old lady. It might not be romantic, but you had to be there. With the brightness of that Clifford smile and the genuine pleasure he seems to take in the thought of us being incredible to Clifford was what I wanted more than anything to. But we don't get to grow old together, Clifford. And I'll remember you in the countless ways that you've shaped my life. Clifford, you were my light and my love. The person who patiently listened and who held me in your arms when things got tough. The person who encouraged me and pushed me to find better within myself. And the person who I can't imagine a world without. Your influence is in every part of my life. Clifford, I hope you're resting in peace. Please stay close. Please always stay close to me.
Thanks, everyone, for your patience. Is this on? Is this on? This is now on. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm David DeVore, and I'm one of the many musicians here that play here. I wrote down some words. You'll have to excuse me. I was like, forgive me for that. And we'd like to play something also in honor of Cliff. I feel like I both didn't know Cliff and really knew him intimately. Like, this is the way with people who play music with his band. I knew really little about his day-to-day life, what was going on in work, some of his favorite foods. I didn't know what he did on vacation. I didn't know who his friends were, really. But I did feel like I did get to know how he felt about life, at least while we were on the stage. Kind of strange. He was a brother, or at the very least, a brother in arms. We shared quite a few special moments that had a profound impact on my life. He was up here playing clarinet to do a show at a museum series that I was put together in Chico. And I showed up to see them play, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with only about 5 of us in the audience. And it was an incredible show, actually seeing these two guys play. And Randy, I'm going to focus on Cliff's playing here.
As you should.
Yes, as I should. But one of the things that just dumbfounded me was that he just kept.
As you should.
Yes, as I should. But one of the things that just dumbfounded me was that he just kept whipping instrument after instrument. Bass, trumpet, trombone, hey, 2 different types of harmonica, chromatic, and I was just like, wow, this is blowing my head to pieces. And he just sounded like him doing everything. And that was the thing that absolutely blew me away. Love got to do some music together somehow. And so I went about writing music for him. And in 2018, that was about 2017 when we met. That was about 2017 when we met. In 2000, what he could do, which was a lot. Playing harmonica, switching out on stage. He used to tease me. He used to warn other musicians that we'd meet backstage. We were going to go on our shows, and he would say, "Don't tell Warren what we play because I'm going to write you something for it." Backstage, we were going to go on our shows, and he would say, "Don't tell Warren what we play because I'm going to write you something for it, and I'll hold you to it." And as evidenced by one day, I have this old euphonium or something laying around, like, ding. And so the next rehearsal, I wrote a piece for him, and I held him to it. And he probably, I think he loved it. I think he probably regretted having to bring one March Street with him. The piece that I wrote that we played that first time in 2018 was a concert that was something that we really bonded over because the themes were based on the original Pinocchio stories. Letting go of your wild side as a young boy, society having to kind of step down and be civilized. Resonate with that a lot, not to mention seeing all of this cycle happen again with our own sons. And there's a strong theme of letting go of your wild side as a young boy in society having to kind of step down and be civilized. And he seemed to resonate with that a lot, not to mention seeing all of this cycle happen again with our own sons. We talked a lot about that during these rehearsals. That's probably when Cliff told me for the first time about his childhood, specifically when he spent time in Iran, running around. I have a real vivid image of this. Running around, just yell at them. His face as a little flea is running back and forth on these really harrowing precipices between the houses. Strangely, the last time I saw Cliff, which was when we did a show in January, and we were hanging out, before the show, before we went on. And I had him recount the story for me. And so he told it to me again, which I loved. And I hope I'm getting that story right. I'm probably going to ask him correctly, but this is what I remember. And he also was segued into the heroic story that his family escaping during the revolution. It was just an incredible dramatic moment, and he was such a masterful storyteller. I was enthralled. And it got me thinking that, well, really, he was a great storyteller, and you can hear it. It's so obvious in his music. It's so obvious in his playing that it was about the story. So it wasn't until about a year that we were playing together in Flounder that he and I figured out that we were both at UCLA at the same time. We just didn't know, and then we knew people in common. See Rachel there, first time in 30 years, and Stephanie. And so this was kind of a mind-blowing experience that we bonded over as well. And he even pretty recently shared with me a picture that of him and Stephanie. That just kind of blew my mind too. I brought me back to those days. Always just great stories. Like I said, it really came through in his music. Just an example of what I think he was such a special musician. I don't know if this will mean a lot to some people, maybe some of the musicians here, but our new album, the publicist who was going to help promote our new album. And one of the things that he's not playing bebop lines. And that just blew me away, and I could not believe it. And that just blew me away, and I could not believe with all of this person to have a judgment call like that. But that really centered in precisely why I loved Cliff's playing. He didn't use any lines. He told a story every time. It was uniquely Cliff's music. That's what he would say. Did not hire the guy at all. Won't ever again. Probably. In closing, I really, didn't really know a frame of mind. I made it kind of a regular habit. It was a ritual. Really special moments of kind of catching up with each other during that time. I felt like I was taking his emotional and mental temperature at the time, but it really just gave us an opportunity to relate to each other, things other than music. And he shared a lot of his frustrations and anxieties and things with me. So I don't even know, but we were able to bond on those conversations. any musician here can vouch for me that no matter what, needless to say, I think that almost any musician here can vouch for me that no matter what frame of mind Cliff was in before a show, sometimes I saw him miserable. He always laughed, and he was always joyful. His musicality, timbre, and expression was so tightly integrated into this band that, we've had lots of discussions about what the heck we're going to do now. And a lot of those discussions are, what could we possibly do without Cliff's sound? And that's a pretty profound thing, especially for me. I labored over it, came from my thoughts and my feelings at one time. But it really goes to show you that once I handed this over to these guys and to Cliff, that it grew into something totally not mine. It was a lot better. Cliff always made it more bearable, always much more confident. He always added more sweat, more swagger. You guys can vouch for that, for sure. He supplied the edge. Really, ultimately, I think he really made things work. Cliff, because, this is from that original concert that I wrote for us. And I wrote it for his beautiful harmonica playing. And also, this piece based on Pinocchio is really about letting go of things that are really hard to let go of. This one's a hard one.